Good morning. How are you? I hope you are all well. Today is the 29th of July, which is a Monday. July is done. We're getting into August, and this is the more reason why, if you are like us here on the 30 Academy, we are always pushing every single day to see what we can do more. In other words, we prompt you, but we also obviously take much keen interest as individuals to see how best we as a team can also push ourselves forward. So the big question for you and for many others is, how exactly can I push myself forward? How exactly can I progress or make progress? How can I build and push my life forward? And I think that's a very, very important question for yourself and for those of you that are part of what's going on. You need to ask yourself fully, what is it that you're doing now that is going to ensure that you build and put in place everything necessary for your progress? Now, one of the things we do as the 7:30 Academy is that we always come through Monday to Friday, and we have these trainings regularly. So on Monday, it's yours truly, it's and I do this every Monday. I come with Unleashing Your Destiny. So that's the particular training that I run with all the time. And then on Tuesdays, we have Auntie Sylvia, or Dr. Sunshine. She's on the call, just monitoring in the background, and she does her mindset change program. And then on Wednesdays, the open market. So those of you that are interested in getting into the open market, getting into, marketing your products or services or whatever it is that you do, you have an opportunity to come and utilize this platform at a small token fee. And then on Thursdays, we have Dr. Nelly Kangwa with her very powerful Prosperity for Your Soul. And then Fridays, we normally have health tips. And in this particular instance, even though Dr. Jackie is the one that's supposed to stand in, she hasn't been running with that for personal reasons. And so we've had Dr. John Muvanga running. Speaking of which, as a platform, we send our deepest condolences. Dr. John Muvanga lost his son last week. I believe that was on Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere there. He lost the son. And so they buried yesterday on Sunday. So very unfortunate. And so we, as the 7:30 Mentorship Academy, send our deepest condolences and pray God's strength during this very trying time. As a parent, to lose a child is never easy. And so we pray strength, especially for both Dr. Mwanga and his wife, Auntie Privy. So that's our heartfelt condolences as the team. And by the way, I didn't think about it. It's just occurring to me now in my mind. If we would like to help in any way, I'm going to post a number on the group. That's my line. And we can post. So what you can do is, if you would like to help in any shape, way, or form financially, go and send your money to this line. I'm going to send a line. I'm going to post a line right now, and you can send your money to this line. And what you do, just give me an alert of how much you've sent, um, and we will then pass these funds as a team. So this is the what are we calling ourselves? The 7:30 academic call. If you sense in any way you want to contribute any money toward Dr. Mulanga, please send to that line, and then post a notification to me directly on the line via WhatsApp or via SMS to say, for Dr. Mulanga's funeral, son, and everything, so that we can contribute as a group and send our funds as part of our condolences as a 7:30 team. So please do whatever small amount, just send it through, indicate, and I will be sure to hand that over, and I'll indicate that it's on behalf of the 7:30 Academy. This is us just to, mourn with them, and to just, for whatever it's worth, just say, sorry, we're with you. So anyway, so that being said, so the number is posted in the group, on the chats, by the way. And then let me also mention, before it slips my mind, we did start the Mentorship Academy last Saturday. We had some major technical challenges, and that was because of the platform I was trying to use. I didn't realize that we are so backward here because of our bandwidth issues. So everything just hanged. So we had to go back to good old-fashioned Google Meet. That's after 1.5 hours of struggling with the internet. It was painful. And so anyway, what we're doing now, we're gonna redo that. So this coming Saturday we'll have Zoom. I'll have to just use Zoom, and then we'll work it out. So we're back again this coming Saturday. We had good attendance, good subscriptions. I'm so happy. The overall number of people that have registered for the class is in excess of 89 people. So we've got 89 students, but the registration list is at 380 people. So very, very interesting numbers. And those that have paid up and are ready to run are 32. And this is all levels: gold, silver, and bronze. Of course, the highest number is bronze, and many are still paying. Last night I still had people paying. Today I know there are others who will pay over into the month end. People will pay. So this is very, very good. And for the rest of those who didn't pay, remember I promised that we'll be giving these freebies. So there's this freebie and a number of others that will be popping up from time to time, and you'll be able to access those. Even if you're not able to be part of the structured mentorship, you can be able to access these. So and remember, these are available even if you're not able to come live on the call. You can catch it as a recording. But for me, I would say those of you that are serious about growing in your personal development ought to be serious about everything. Even if you can't afford to pay for it, at least be consistent in attending, be consistent in following through on the different exercises that are shared, be consistent on so many issues that we do. This is the only way you can really improve yourself. Let me tell you, becoming excellent and excelling in what you do is never accidental. Success is not accidental. Success is intentional. So even for you, you have to be, intentional about your success. And that's why today the topic is the quantum realm of the impossible. We're looking at the fixed versus growth mindset. And I want to mention that, being done now, studying what was previous, precisely a quantum leap and what it is, the barriers that stop most from ever achieving one, in their lives, any area or sector, and how to overcome the barriers. We will examine another component that is very cardinal to setting in place the relevant mindset for success, or the opposite, the mindset that keeps manifesting the opposite of what we want and desire. So why are so many people not growing? So of course I went into deep, deep waters to explain why. But today I just want to go into this fixed versus growth mindset. Exactly what is that? Never ever heard of those? Well, a mindset or a paradigm or a viewpoint is a belief system. Okay. Now, these belief systems, whether one is aware or not, is immaterial, but they're belief systems. Okay. And these belief systems determine the way people look at things. Okay. By which it goes on to affect how they think and how they behave. And I'm sure you remember we went deep into describing what belief is, describing what thinking is, with describing behavior. And so paradigms have an absolute impact, literally absolute impact on everything done by an individual. And these are founded on beliefs. So beliefs are powerful. I told you that beliefs sit in what are called frames, and frames are neither positive or negative. Beliefs are positive or negative, but frames are not. And so you have to realize that these frames are very powerful. And frames are the product of the environment. And the environment is the environment. There's nothing you can do about the environment. But you can do so much about the internal makeup of who you are on the inside. And this whole idea about mindsets is a critical factor. Now, beliefs are unwritten commands that govern every decision we make, whether we are aware of it or not. And they also play a critical and central role in how one thinks. So thinking, how they feel, which is your emotions, and how you behave, which are your actions. Okay, so beliefs actually affect character traits too, because we have already been shown that these are born from prolonged states of mind. Okay, so whatever state of mind you prolongingly stay in will go on to affect your character traits. And that's why the Bible emphasizes on meditating on the positive. It's right there in Philippians 4:8. I quote that a lot. Okay, and so remember, I taught you in my last lesson that moods lead to temperaments, and these then become personality traits, which are all affected from past experiences. And that's why the environment you're in is so critical. What you experience as a youngster is also very critical. Those formative years are everything. And that's why the Jesuits say, give me a baby, and at the age of 7, I'll give you back an adult. Because they understand that those first 6 years are everything. If you don't form the person in those 6 years, they're gone. Because between 6 and 12, they are semi suggestible. So they are not exactly sponges like they are in the first 6 years. So that environment is so powerful. And now, for those of you that have gone through these negative environments, how do we change the programming? I've taught you thoroughly how we do that in previous lessons. Go and refer to them. But for now, I want to zone in on something else. Now, interestingly, if you observe, you'll see that such states, that's beliefs and consequent results, become a self-reinforcing mechanism that is known as a mindset loop or belief cycle. Okay, mindset loop or belief cycle. So here's how this works. Thoughts and beliefs affect behavior. Okay, so thoughts and beliefs affect behavior. Behavior affects actions. Your actions affect results. Results affect performance, and performance gives feedback. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever your view is at the beginning always determines what this feedback means to you. Not what the feedback is saying, but what it means. Okay, and that's why in NLP we have the saying, it's not the events that happen to you that matter, but the meanings that you assign to those events. So it's nothing to do with the facts, it's everything to do with your perception. I hope I'm hitting home here. Your perception. So what am I saying? If your mindset is negative, the feedback reinforces this view and worsens performance on the next round. It's a spiral, it's a loop, remember? So if, however, the mindset is positive, the feedback just gives information on what to improve and enhances performance even more on the next round. So how you take it is far more important than what it is. You know, when I learned this some years back, it really hit home. How you take it is far more important than what it is. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Any event, whether it's catching your spouse in a cheating relationship, whether it's being fired from a job, whether it's a spectacular failure on anything, it doesn't matter. You see, for example, on Saturday, we had our first session. For all intents and purposes, that first session sucked. Okay, it sucked. I mean, all the tech just went wrong. Everything just went wrong. I was freezing, I was cut off, the whole thing failed, people were not able to come in. I mean, everything that could go wrong went wrong. One of my mentees got back to me later and said, I was very amazed that you didn't give up. I gave up on your behalf, but you didn't give up. You came back and just continued like nothing has happened. The reason is simple, because I know it's a setback. It's a setback. That was good feedback to tell me that the platform I was using doesn't work, not in this environment. So get rid of it and go back to another one. And then just apologize to the people and just do the right thing. I'm the one in charge, you know, like they always say in parenting that you're the bloody parent, right? Sorry to use the term bloody, but you're the parent in the equation. It's not the kids that are parents, you're the parent. So you're the one in control. Okay, and so many times we have to understand that if we realize we're in control, then it doesn't matter what the factors are, you can still have a calm disposition about it, and you don't need to get stressed. It's just part of life. Tech lets us down, stuff goes wrong, it's normal. You just take it in your stride and say, oops, my mistake, things have gone bad, let's see what we can do next time around. Remember, you're the expert. So most people, unless there's a problem with your actual delivery, but if your delivery is on point, the tools can let you down. That doesn't change the fact that you contain what it takes. So we need to learn how to take failure as feedback, because that's what failure is. It's not the end of the world. And that, I think that's very, very important. So how to choose, how you choose, so back to my point now, how you choose to see the performance, whether positive or negative, determines what that cycle does, that being to generate an upward or downward spiral of effort and performance. And this is why I always say, I always say and quote the law of averages, which states that if you keep doing the right thing repeatedly, you are bound to succeed in the end. So just because you start and things don't work, and you do it the second time and they don't work, and you do it the third time and they don't work, and this is normal, by the way. You do it the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the 10th, the 11th, the 50th, it's still not working. What matters most is, are you drawing feedback? Are you learning? And that's why we have the famous saying, I like saying this all the time. This is it. Plan. So meaning when you start something, you plan well, and then you do. So when you do, that doing is what is really going to help you now, see your results from doing. Then you review. All right. Then after reviewing, what do? You revise. So plan, do, review, revise. After revising, you plan again, then you do, then you review, then you revise, then you plan, then you do. As you do this continuously, believe me, you will improve. You will become 10 times better than you are, because practice makes perfect. That's why you keep doing something, and you do it over and over and over. And it's Malcolm Gladwell and his tipping point. He says 10,000 hours and you become a pro. You become a professional. You can do these things in your sleep because you do it all the time. You've fired up enough neural networks in your brain to do this on autopilot. So nothing freaks you out. Nothing scares you. I can operate like I'm multitasking right now because my brain has learned how to, my subconscious mind has learned how to pick everything I need to do, and I can focus on this presentation, but at the same time, I'm managing the entire process. I don't even need an assistant to do this. That's how powerful the mind can be. So in the same manner, when we are doing these things, we can grow. So now, what's the difference between fixed and growth mindsets? Precisely. In a fixed mindset, students believe their basic abilities, intelligence, and talents are just fixed traits at birth. Like there's no room for growth, okay? And are also determined by the environment. So if you're in the environment, kwasila. You know what I mean? If such a persons are born in the poor environment, they are usually of the view that they have been dealt a bad card and have no way to change it, because abilities, intelligence, talents, and resources are fixed and can never be changed. They tend to be fatalistic in their approach, okay, to life, believing that everything that occurs in their lives is beyond them and is meant to be. So that's a fixed mindset. Everything is as it is. You know, Chikulu-kwacha, God will see us through. This is what I have. I can't do anything. You know, what can you do? The environment is bad. The economy is dead. There's no electricity. You know, they're so external in their understanding of things. In fact, in our neuropsychology and neuro leadership training, we call it the external locus of control. So their locus of control sits outside of them. They are fatalistic. Things happen to them. This is the fixed mindset. So in the growth mindset, students understand that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, and persistence, and can thus grow and become better with time. So it doesn't matter what cards they are dealt with by life, they don't stay there. All right? So regardless of whether such a person is born in a poor environment or a rich one, they do not subscribe to the bad card mindset and can choose it to it because of abilities, intelligence, talents, and resources are not fixed and can be changed. And I want to say that again. The growth mindset people realize that it doesn't matter what they begin with, they can find it. Okay? So they are not fatalistic in their approach to life, believing that everything that occurs in their lives is an intentional result of an action on their part. So they're not going to sit around and wait for death. They are going to do something about it. Okay? They also believe that creation actually works with them and not against them to bring into fruition whatever desires they have. So let's just before I go into the actual ones, let me say this very powerfully. In our Christian circles, especially in the Pentecostal charismatic circles, the devil takes on a very powerful central role. he is so magnified, way beyond his power, and is given authority way beyond what he has. And so the devil becomes a real and present danger. And the problem with that is that then people in the charismatic circles grow to believe that this devil is on their case, that like there's someone fighting them all the time. Now, that isn't so not true. That is kind of true, but it's not as true as maybe people make it out to be. It is over exaggerated and overhyped. So here's what happens. Because your view is that the devil is fighting against you and sending all manner of forces against you, two laws kick in. The law of focus, which is actually a very simple law. That way, whatever you focus on expands. Okay? And then the law of attraction. Whatever you are, you attract. Now, these things sound bogus, but they are very powerful spiritual laws. And if your focus is the devil, this, the devil, that, the devil, if you start to see the devil in everything, believe me, he shows up. If you see God in everything, believe me, he shows up. So whoever you see is the one who shows up. That's why whatever you focus on expands. Now, this principle here, in the fixed and growth mindset, we have the same scenario. If everything in the universe is fighting you, and that's all you see, that's what you perceive, and that's what you get. Whatever you believe with expectation happens. You know, that saying is scary. Whatever you believe with expectation happens. Ever heard of self-fulfilling prophecies? That's where they come from. If your mind is zoned in on this possibility, the enemy is coming for me, the enemy is coming for me, I must protect myself all the time, and that's all you think about, and you're so zoned in on this, the stuff will happen. And you know, I mean, I wish it was different, but that's just how it is, because your whole focus, your whole paradigm becomes fixed or fixated on this viewpoint. That's why you've got to be so careful. You've got to be so careful with what you focus on, what you keep your mind on. And that's why the Bible, go and read it. Nowhere does it say focus on the devil, focus on the devil. No, it says focus on that which is good. Everywhere. Focus on God's word. Focus on the healing and power of God. These are the things the Bible focuses on. Obviously, we have spiritual warfare. We have intercession. We pray against certain things. But I assure you that whatever you focus on tends to manifest faster. So what precisely are the differences in a fixed and a growth mindset? To best understand it, we shall examine a number of attributes, and this in turn will give us a very good idea of how these two work. Okay, these shall be examined in the state of form and determine the paradigm from each. So I'm going to give you a number of them. I'll be very quick because I want us to quickly get past this subject. But I just want at this moment to pause once more and re-emphasize what I just came from saying. That if your focus is fixed, everything is closed. If your focus believes there are forces against you, everything will work against you. Because whatever you focus on expands. Okay? Whatever you focus on expands. And that's why our focus should be on the positive. We must look for the opportunity, not the obstacle. It's just amazing. I'm told those expert skiers, the ones who ski down mountain slopes, you know, when they're skiing down mountain slopes, they're usually ducking trees. So the question that many people ask is, how do you avoid the trees? He says, I focus on the exits. I don't look at the trees. I look at the place I'm going. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, they don't look at the trees. They look at the openings. And so they are able to go through those openings. Because the moment you focus on the tree, you will hit the tree. You will hit the tree. And that's why those who ride in obstacles, they just learn the keys, keep looking at the openings. Keep looking for the openings. Forget about the trees. They become invisible. Just focus on the openings, and that's where you go through. And that's why, even for you in your life, don't focus on the negatives. Don't see the negatives. Look for the positive. It's always in there. That's why the English have a saying, with every cloud is a silver lining. All right, so quickly. So here are examples of the difference between these two. Okay, to best understand, we'll examine a number of attributes, and in this turn, we'll get a very good idea of how they work. So these shall be examined in the statement form and determine the paradigm from each. Okay, so let's begin. Intelligence is static. Intelligence can be developed. Okay, so that's the first statement. What does that mean? Very simply. If there are people who believe intelligence can't be developed, so that's a fixed mindset. But those who believe it can be developed, that's a growth mindset. So with a fixed mindset, it can lead to a desire to look smart, and therefore when it comes to the following scenarios, react in a predictable pattern and shall be shown. On the other hand, a growth mindset always leads to a desire to learn and therefore is ready to face the same scenarios differently. So challenges, a fixed mindset avoids them. A growth mindset embraces them. Okay, obstacles, a fixed mindset gives up easy. A growth mindset persists in the face of setback. Effort, a fixed mindset sees effort as fruitless or worse, futile. A growth mindset sees effort as a path to mastery. Are you seeing the differences, my friends? Criticism, a fixed mindset ignores useful negative feedback. A growth mindset learns from the critique. Success of others, a fixed mindset feels threatened by the success of others because they feel and believe in the law of scarcity, which is nonsensical. Okay, whereas a growth mindset finds lessons and inspiration from the success of others. Why? Because they believe in the law of abundance. They believe that the universe is abundant. There's enough for everyone. Economics teaches that resources are scarce and limited. That's a lie. The other side, life teaches that resources are abundant and plenty and enough for everyone. But you see, for economists and the economic system and the world system, it is in their advantage to create the sense of scarcity because that's what keeps the super rich super rich. But I am here to tell you that there's enough resources, there's enough technology, there's enough insight for every human being. There's enough money to go around for everyone. But the system that doesn't promote that. It has to promote the scarce idea so that people are locked in this false lie that the resources are limited. There's enough money. And that's what we talk about with Auntie Sylvia and Dr. Nelly all the time. There's enough for everyone. There's enough for everyone. That's why if you notice, on Mondays I have my own mentorship program. Auntie Sylvia has Tuesday with her own mentorship program, and Dr. Nelly has Thursday with her own mentorship program. And we don't feel threatened by any of our work. If anything, we supplement each other quite beautifully. We're not threatened because there's enough for everyone. That's what I always say. There's enough for everyone. Say that with me. If you're listening to me right now, say there is enough. In fact, you know what? I don't like telling people to write, but this one, write it down. Write down and say there is enough for everyone. Because that statement, my friends, is such a powerful eye-opener. You have been led to your whole life to believe there isn't enough. Whether it, let me go to a common area, marriage and finding the right spouse. A lot of people believe there's fewer men in the world. That's a lie. That's just a paradigm. It's a wrong thinking. It's a fixed mindset. And you know why? Don't you know the most naughty, absolutely undeserving people in the world that are married right now? And then there's really nice people that are struggling to marry. They just marry devils, for lack of a better word. I'm sure you've seen that for yourself. So my question to you is, how is that possible? Answer, because there is enough for everyone. The view that you have determines. If you tell yourself, I am beautiful and I love, the love in me is pure and I am going to draw the right people to me. And if you begin to speak and believe that all the time, sooner or later you will begin to attract those kind of people. But if you go around believing there's nobody, it's late, I'm losing out, I'm going to lose out, I'll reach a point where there'll be nothing left for me, let me hurry up, let me hurry up. If you're one of those, then believe me, you will end up with a mess. So whatever you think is what becomes. We continue. On challenge, we're still continuing with this. Others, as a result of the early ones mentioned, a fixed mindset person may plateau early in their endeavors or career, business, ministry, and achieve less than their full potential. And this confirms a deterministic or fatalistic viewpoint, as earlier mentioned. So they believe that everything for them is blocked, and that's why they don't go any further. Okay, and then you've got the other type. Now, the persons with a growth mindset tend to believe, tends to achieve even higher levels of success. This gives them a greater sense of free will because they believe that success is determined by one's resolve to succeed and the commitment to stay the path regardless of the circumstances, okay? Regardless of the circumstances that may come their way. They are not governed by events and circumstances, but instead create what they want. That's one of the most interesting truths I ever learned, okay? There's a saying that I have come to use as a mantra in my own life, and I will share with you, and it states this. It says, those who succeed in life are born into the right circumstances and situations. And if not, they search for them. And if they cannot find them, they create them. That's right. I want you to know that your growth mindset and your power to grow and succeed is completely determined by how you view life, not what life throws at you. What I've also come to learn is that if you go through a lot of adversity, we've gone through a lot of adversity, my wife and I. If you go through a lot of adversity in your life, setbacks, problems, whatever, I've come to learn that the assignment put in you by God is so powerful. And so therefore, God has permitted you to go through these circumstances to prepare you to be a powerful vessel in the future. One saying goes, the greater the assignment, the greater the challenges, or the greater the testing. So the greater the assignment, the greater the testing. And this is going to be something you'll go through in your life. And don't let that ever bring you down. Just know that you are resilient. I think somebody said, as long as you're not dead and buried, your story is not done. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how late you think you are. You know, one of the beauties about life, when things work out, when things come to pass, you literally instantaneously forget all those days of pain because it's like that. And that's what makes me so encouraged, because time is an illusion. We're in the ever-present now. The future is a promissory check. The past is a cashed check. Oh, by the way, we're phasing checks out, but you know what I mean. So the past is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. You can only learn from it experientially. The future is a promise. You can't get to it, but the present, today, is happening. It's called the present, and it's a gift. And so, whatever you do now, my friend, is what matters. Whatever you do now is what matters. Some of you've been hearing us telling you guys about mentorship and coaching, and you've come up with a lot of excuses. It's valid, but I'm going to quote Donald Trump, future president of America. That's as much politics I'll do here. Anyway, I'm going to quote Donald Trump. And Donald Trump says something powerful. He said it many years ago, before he even became presidential candidate. He said, you can either make money or make excuses. You can't do both. So in life, progress is painful. When you want to move from where you are to where you want to be, when you want to develop a growth mindset, it's never easy. The enemy, and no, he doesn't have power, but listen to me. The enemy in life will throw all manner of things at you. One very famous series of books which I like was called the Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law basically states if anything can go wrong, it will. What is interesting about Murphy's Law is that even though life can throw everything at you, you can fight it back. And the reason you're being thrown everything at is because you have what it takes. And so, don't believe the lie. So, for example, some of my people are going to be getting into mentorship. They love the idea of being in mentorship, but they're not willing to sacrifice. And for some of them, it's a simple little barrier of just a fee. But I can tell you, you can either allow the fee to be your barrier and an excuse or not? You know, I've got two people that have blown me away in my list of people that are paying for the course. You know what they've done? One of them got kicked out of his house just on Thursday, just before the meeting. He had his money ready. He had to go take that money and pay for a new house. But he said, Rev, I am not going to fail to make it. Your bronze level is so cheap. It's only 500 kwacha. I will find a way. So you know what he's been doing? Every day he's been sending 100 kwacha. I was very moved. Every day he's been sending 100 kwacha. The other day he said, I only have a 50. He sent a 50 kwacha. Now, I'm not saying that you should do anything. I mean, if you're stuck, you're stuck. But you know what? People like him, I didn't ask his name. I didn't ask his permission, so I can't mention his name. People like him have not allowed an excuse to stop them. He said, every day in my job, he rides a motorcycle. Think about that. He rides a motorcycle as a young guy. He says, in my job, I have 100 kwacha. I can always find 100 kwacha. So I'll send 100 kwacha every day. I'll sacrifice what I'm eating. I'll send 100 kwacha. So why am I even saying all these things? I'm just basically showing you that a growth mindset finds a way in spite of the challenge. They always find a way. But you can put this barrier. You know, there are people who say, I want to come in as gold, and my gold level is 3,000 kwacha. But they're failing to pay the 3,000. Why not come in on 500? And when things work out, upgrade. If you want to come in at 3,000 and the money is not enough, what about the 500? Can you come in on the 500? Well, I think yes. So why not come in on the 500 and then start from there? And then as things work out to you, some people have literally said, no, I think I'll just push it to the next cohort. That's an excuse. And you see, that's what the brain does. The brain, depending on your mindset, will always look for the excuse and grasp it because it's comfortable. It's easier to make an excuse than to execute. So back to my point, there is enough out there. Those who succeed are born into the circumstances, but if not, they look for those circumstances. And if, like the colleague I mentioned, where setback comes, another one had a funeral, they lost their mom, but they said, I'm not missing this thing, come rain or shine. So they've been sending 100 kwatas as well. It's really touching to see that. Say, wow. Like they're going to send the 100 kwatas. And why am I not going to stop them? Because I want them to value. Why do I put these fees? Because I want people to value this. You see, when that which you value, you take with high esteem. That which you do not value, you don't care. That's why even when we talk about these lessons are available, not everybody comes to these lessons. They show up late, they make excuses because they don't value this. But that which you value, you will prioritize. Are you ever late to take your kids to school? No, because you made that a priority. Are you late to get into your office at 8? No, because you made that a priority. Do you want to change your life today and move to the next level? I believe those who filled up the mentorship forms want to. I believe those attending this lesson right now, listening to me, 40 of you, you want to. But I'm here to tell you there's no magic bullet. Don't be cheated. There's no magic bullet. There's no anointing oil. There's no laying of hands. No, for this, it is you. You make the decision. You decide that I want to make this work. And so you make the effort to go to where the rescue is. I'll close with the example of the woman with the issue of blood. She knew Jesus can heal. She had spent all her money. It was done. She didn't care about what people thought. She found a way in the crowd until she touched his garment and she was healed. And the Bible says Jesus noticed power went out of him. He asked, and of course, she revealed herself. And it was her faith. But her faith, she didn't just pray where she was. She had to go to where Jesus is. And what I'm saying to all of you is that if you want to move to the next level, you must be willing to pay the price. Stop making excuses, as Donald Trump said. Stop making excuses and do something. Do something. And so growth mindset is done. So next week, when I come next week, whichever day it will be, I am going to be speaking about the leap in performance as explained by Jesus. Jesus gave a killer illustration of this quantum leap performance thing. In my next teaching, I will show you, and it's in the story of the talents. And this story, you haven't heard it the way you're going to hear it from me. And so looking forward to see you next time. Remember, tomorrow we have Dr. Sunshine Sylvia on the call. She'll be coming through to do her usual. Have a great day, everybody, and make the day count. As we say in the lingua, seize the day, or have to learn the words in the Latin. Adios.